This is going to be a very cool video because it's going to teach you how to find the very cheapest lease deal going into 2024. I used to have a rule where I used to tell people where it was if you're paying about 1% of the MSRP, that's a very, very good deal. If you're paying 1% of the MSRP with about 5% as being the amount that you put total do it start, you got a knockout deal. If you can get that kind of a deal now, oh boy, you're doing fantastic. However, it's going to be a little bit difficult trying to achieve those numbers in 2024 given the interest rates. So here's what I want you to do instead. If you're looking for a $300 lease payment, the chances of getting that on a $30,000 car are very, very slim. So what's happened is that for every $10,000 that you're leasing, that's typically about 1.5% of the vehicle's MSRP. What do I mean? If you're looking at a $30,000 vehicle, multiplying that by 0.015 to get the lease payment yields a $450 lease payment. This is getting to be somewhat accurate, especially the lower and lower the price of the vehicle. But here's how you get super precise. I usually like to use either Edmunds.com or Cars.com to try to find the vehicle that I'm looking for. Now, if I know that I can only afford about $500 a month or $400 a month, I want to be looking at, say, not a $40,000 car, but a $30,000 car to achieve, a $400 or a $450 payment, because our MSRP multiplied by 0.015 gives us the corresponding lease payment that should roughly result. So if we're looking at a $30,000 car, it'll be about a $450 lease payment. What I like to do is I use Edmunds.com to try to find the very best option for the very category that I'm looking for. So if I'm looking for an SUV between $30,000 and $40,000, Edmunds kind of points me in that direction. I'll use it to try and figure out what's the best SUV for the job. I'll try and pick about 5 of my very, very favorites for this. So say Edmunds.com selected about 5 different SUVs. Say they picked out the Honda CR-V, the Toyota RAV4, the Chevy Equinox, so on. I'll take all these vehicles and I'll put them all into Cars.com. Which of these vehicles are the most in stock? We're trying to find the most in stock because that's probably going to allude to the very best deal. Trust me, if it's not in stock, it means that it's not going to be a very, very good deal. If it's showing up as really not there, like no stock or very, very low stock relative to its competitors, get rid of it. Now, what you want to do is you want to pick 2 to 3 of your favorites of these 5 of the highest in inventory. We're going to pick 2 to 3 because those are the 2 to 3 we're going to stick to. It's going to make life a lot easier. So say from this category, we chose the Mazda CX-5 and the Honda CR-V. We're actually gonna go a little bit further and we're gonna check their websites to see which trim would work for us. If we're looking for just the base model, we're gonna check off the base model in Cars.com and see how many of the base model that there is. If you look at a lot of vehicles, the base model is not even in stock, so you have to settle for a higher up trim. You gotta get super specific with what's actually there, not what's on the manufacturer's website. What's on Cars.com? What is on the dealership's website? What's showing up as available? If it's showing up as looking like it's plentiful in stock, choose that vehicle. Here's where we work backwards to a precise payment. Now, there's 2 ways to do this. There's the precise way, and there's sort of the approximate but pretty precise way that goes by the manufacturer's build your own payment calculator tool. I like to do the calculation because it's the best way that I think that you can get a very, very precise payment. I usually do a couple different things. Either I search into Google 2023 or 2024 Mazda CX-5 lease deals or lease money factor and residual. What this is going to do is it's going to pull up search results. Usually it's one of the first search results you get is from Edmunds. I go to the Edmunds forum and I go to the very, very last page, which usually reveals a bunch of questions that have been asked already, or you can sign up and do your research there as well. You research what was the money factor and the residual for that trim that you picked out from cars.com. You want to do this for one vehicle and then do it for your second vehicle. You then want to find an online lease calculator tool. You can either do that online or you can download the one that I like to use on my phone, which is Leasematic. You enter in your MSRP and you enter in that full MSRP. What's the MSRP and what's the selling price? You want to enter in the same prices without negotiating anything first. You want to enter in the residual. You want to enter in the money factor. The residual is what the car is going to depreciate to over the course of the lease. The money factor is the interest rate that's being charged on the lease. You put in these two numbers, you put in whatever fees that you think the dealership is going to charge, or just leave it at zero and assume that you're going to pay roughly between $1,500 to about $2,000 in inception fees or startup fees. And this is going to reveal the exact monthly payment. When you get this exact monthly payment, you want to do this for that car and the other car. Which payment looks a lot better, just apples to apples? If it's looking like one vehicle is looking a lot better than the other, you found the very best deal, most likely on the market. The reason why it's probably the best deal is because there's a lot of negotiability behind those vehicles also. Now, there's a lot of other factors that play into this negotiability aspect. How many are in stock, what time of the month it is. There's a lot of other videos you could watch from mine that will explain exactly how to figure out how to go about getting a great deal of money off of the car. However, a lot of what I'm saying in this video will actually dictate whether or not it's even possible getting the best deal on that car, given what the lease program actually looks like. So now, if this sounded too complicated for you, you could also do this. Believe it or not, the manufacturer's website does a hell of a job estimating the lease payment too. It's just you have to work backwards to try and figure out what the actual lease payment is, not what they made it look like. I like to go on the manufacturer's website and build out just whatever I'm seeing in stock on the actual dealership's website, try to build it out to the exact MSRP that's showing on the dealership's website, etc. And I like to go to the very last page, the summary page. This will also have a payment estimator tool. Now, the payment estimator tool is designed to get you to want to get the car, and it's designed to make the lease payment look very, very attractive. You can work backwards to try and figure out, is the lease payment actually attractive or not? Usually when it has any sort of down payment involved at the end, it usually means money in addition to whatever fees that's required to be paid to the dealership. So if you take out all down payments being asked for, all money down, if you take all that out, it leaves mandatory fees to be paid due at start. Now, those mandatory fees include first payment, documentation fee, registration fee, acquisition fee, all the fees that are involved to start up a lease. Those roughly usually equate to about between $1,200 to $2,000 total. So if we were to just assume that we're paying just those fees due at start, take out your down payment, and assume that that lease payment that they're quoting is not including tax because it doesn't know your state sales tax rate, then what you've got is the super accurate lease payment that just requires that you add in sales tax and you pay your inception fees. Now, these two methods that I've described, they're at full MSRP. They're assuming you haven't negotiated a deal on this car. The beauty of picking between 2 to 3 vehicles is that not only do you have leverage by requesting pricing from multiple dealerships, like if you were to go to negotiation guides by clicking here or the link in the description below, you could literally ask a bunch of dealerships for pricing, not just on one car, but on a few cars from a few different dealerships. Now, instead of just using leverage from brand to brand, you get to use cross leverage because you're shopping for a few different cars. So you can go to the Honda dealership and say, listen, I really like your CRV, man, but I got an offer from Toyota on their RAV4. Here it is. They're offering me about $2,000 off the lease, and it's coming out to yada, yada, yada. And what this does is not only does it create a situation where the dealership not only just wants to beat the deal, he also wants to steal you away from that brand. It's not just, oh, I have to go to the Honda dealership with strictly Honda pricing for him to even want to negotiate with me. It actually works cross-brand. I want to encourage you to definitely try out this cross-leverage technique. I want to encourage you to also use precise data, but if you can't, use the build your own tools on the manufacturer's website and just work backwards to achieve the payment. If you found this information useful, please consider subscribing. Thank you so much for watching, guys. We'll see you next time.